Hello and welcome to another episode of the To Baldly Go podcast, and thank you for joining me on my mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to baldly go where so many have gone before. My name is Aaron, and I am watching Star Trek for the first time from the beginning, then discussing with my wife Abby and our friend Nate. This week, we will be discussing Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. Now, set in a course to hell. Yeah, should we talk about some Star Trek here?
We should.
Abby, you ready?
As ready as she can be.
All right. So we're going to go back to June 9th of 1989. It's been a couple of weeks since we last had a new episode of Next Generation, the horrible, horrible waste of time up the long ladder. We don't have another new episode coming for another 10 days, so with all of this free time, might as well go join the adventures of an earlier Enterprise crew and go see Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, in which the crew of the Federation Starship Enterprise is called the Nimbus 3, the planet of intergalactic peace. They are to negotiate in a case of kidnapping, only to find out that the kidnapper is a relative of Spock. This man is possessed by his lifelong search for the planet Shakari, which is supposed to be the source of all life. Together, they begin the search for this mysterious planet. This movie. Huh. So I struggled with this one. I had to watch it over like 3 separate days
No.
and had to kind of piece it together. And I finish it feeling like I wanted to like it, but didn't.
Why did
Um,
you want to like it? Did you want to like it because you liked the characters or because you liked the storyline?
I don't know because I wasn't taking notes as I watched. I have the feeling like I want to watch it again. But for some reason, I also feel like that is not going to change my opinion on the movie. I felt it would have made a fine episode. And I felt like the final 45 minutes or so of the movie was basically an okay episode. But there was so much that was just disjointed in the movie. You juxtapose the final 30-40 minutes of it with the opening Kirk free soloing El Cap, and it's weird. Like, that's the same movie, and it just didn't quite work. But it wasn't terrible. Yeah, I I I just don't I, I don't have a read on this movie. It is kind of what it boils down to. I I'm stuck feeling kind of like, okay, so what? Like throughout all of it, as I'm watching it, it's kind of like, okay, why is this going on? And who cares? And okay, it is kind of how I felt the entire time watching it. But I wanted to like it, and I just, yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like it was terribly directed or anything. I thought it was just mediocre. I gave it a 5.
So I went into this movie, obviously haven't seen it many times. Um, and for the record, back when I was still buying movies on like physical media, I owned all the Star Trek movies except this one because I never saw any point in buying it because I never had any desire to watch it, like at all. All the others, sure, would happily sit down and watch them in any order at any time, for any reason. But always when it came to getting this one, I was like, uh, I'm not even gonna bother. So I never owned this on DVD or VHS or
Mhm.
anything over the years. Um, So going into this, going into the movie itself, and then having watched it, and I finished it on Monday. When did I text you? When you were driving back from
That would have been
Tennessee.
Monday.
Okay. I think I watched it all in one shot. I think I managed to watch the whole thing in uninterrupted, more or less. I kind of finished it, and I thought, this could either be the longest episode of this podcast we ever record or the shortest. And I'm not sure which it's going to be because it kind of depends on if it's so bad that we have so much to talk about, or it's so bad we don't want to talk about it. I too gave it a 5, by the way. Um, I had similar thoughts, and um, yeah, there was so much that I kind of wanted to like about this. I almost have the split opinion from you, though. I love the beginning. I thought it was hysterical. It's, the three of those characters as we kind of come to know and love them,
Hmm.
camping in is it Yosemite where they're at? Sorry, I don't
Yeah.
know national parks very well. But camping in Yosemite, picking on each other, having a grand old time, doing stupid shit like they always do.
Hmm.
Uh, I really enjoyed the first kind of chunk of the movie. It was the back half of the movie that really lost me because it felt disjointed
Hmm.
and not super well thought out. I think there was the potential for a really great movie in there.
Yep.
Um, I think somewhere in amongst everything else, this could have been a much better movie than it was,
Hmm.
and yet it still failed. Um,
Yeah.
when we get to the trivia, I think there are a lot of answers to that, by the way, like a lot of answers. But it bottom line is the thing that ended up on the screen was not good.
Right. I didn't I really just didn't feel anything about it. I didn't feel it was particularly like it definitely wasn't good, but I didn't really hate it. I was more left like I try not to look at the clock and say, okay, how much time is left? But there was like 10 minutes left, and I was like, where the hell are they going with this? Like, how is this going to wrap up? Because there's also going to be credits. So there's got to be like 4 minutes here. What's going to happen?
Yep.
And it wrapped up very, like,
It wrapped up like an episode wraps up,
right.
especially an
And
original series episode,
and
right?
that's why my first note I wrote after I finished it was it felt like it would have been a fine episode. And it had almost that episode feel to it. And it felt like two different episodes that can be fine if you watch them as two different episodes, but just don't work as a movie.
No.
Because yeah, that first bit, even basically up to the them getting thrown in the brig or whatever, it that's kind of where there was a big shift, and all of a sudden it's not this slapsticky, like slapstick humor kind of stuff. And those both of the scenes with Spock's boots, good Lord.
Yeah, but Act One, Act Three, right? I mean, if you show me
Yeah,
something in Act One, I better
still,
as well.
still,
I
so
did write that down
I'm
just because.
that's true. They did come back,
Yeah.
but I mean, oh God, it was so lame. Like, I mean, yeah, him flying down, grabbing Kirk like inches from the ground, and then
Here's
the
my
thing
my
I
No,
other
found,
it's the arms up first before he
yeah,
goes down. He's got to throw his arms up
so
before
that
he
he can
can
tilt
spin
down.
and tip down.
but the now I did find it interesting showing the scope of where they were climbing and the fact that they were at like deck 12 when Spock got them and goes all the way up to like what was it, deck 84. He's like,
Yeah.
Jesus, this thing is huge.
So that's one of the big things that is called out as a problem with this movie. Two things. The deck numbers don't go up as you go up the ship. They go down. So the bridge is deck one, top of the
Oh.
ship. Number two, there are not 84 decks or 80 something. I can't remember exactly where it stopped. There are not that many decks on the Enterprise. It's in the 20s for the Enterprise A. The Enterprise D is 42, and it's a significantly bigger ship
Yeah.
than the Enterprise A. So that was just a complete like, we don't know what the hell we're doing here, so we're gonna just make shit up as we go moment.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying I liked that, but I thought it was interesting. Like, oh wow, they had gone nowhere.
Yeah,
And like showing they had been climbing for a few minutes, and it was like, oh yeah, they had another hour
for
or
sure.
more because they would have gotten tired, which Bones was
Well,
basically
McCoy was already
looking
just
at. Yeah,
about like
he was tired when he
ready to
looked
pass
at it.
out.
Huh.
Um,
But yeah, I was just like, oh God,
I think there were some, I mean, there were some moments where it was really good. And maybe I don't know, I have not given Abby a chance to talk about what she thought of this. So maybe I'm getting ahead of myself and I'll save this for later. But now you tell me, Abby, do you want to share your thoughts?
This was as corny as I remember.
Hmm.
It was funny because I saw as it popped up, and I don't know if it influenced my thoughts on it or not, but it was like, oh, directed by Shatner.
Hmm.
And then it was a very Shatner focused episode. Shatner did a lot of interesting things.
Imagine that.
Right, right. And my first thought was, wait a second, overweight Shatner, who really struggled in the last one, fitting into his uniform and doing stuff, is now free soloing Capitan.
Yeah, but
Like
he
that was
looks
like
really good in this
he
episode.
looked
He's
so much
slimmed
better,
down.
but he's not 22.
No.
Like, you know what I mean? So that was a little hard for me. The row your boat was like they
Come
almost took
on,
it
that
too
was
far.
funny.
I mean, there were great lines in it. Like I loved the Sulu and Chekhov getting lost in the woods and we like just tell her we're lost. No, and it's Aaron's like
there's a
he's the
blizzard.
navigator, right?
It's a blizzard. It's
Which
70
makes
and
it
sunny.
great. So I thought that was really funny how they did
It's a
that. I thought it was
miracle.
great. So they had some great lines on that end. I don't necessarily agree that Starfleet would have sent out the Enterprise, honestly, given I
Felt
think that was
forced.
unrealistic.
Yeah.
We only can use you, Jim. I don't think
And
that's
given it was
true.
in
Here's the
like just
thing.
shitty shape.
But here's also the thing. If they needed Kirk, they
He
didn't
could have had another
necessarily
ship
need
for him.
the Enterprise. They
Correct.
He could have gone on any other ship.
Agreed.
If it's a question of, experience and abilities of the other captains, then temporarily assign him to another
Correct.
ship and send him. The trope of, the Enterprise is falling apart and yada 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 was, I don't even know that it did anything plot wise for that movie that made it more interesting. Like it could have been in perfect shape, and I don't think it would have changed anything.
Right.
It almost got thrown away at some point.
Yeah.
Other than it was the transporter just didn't work, and that was a problem. Like that was the only thing I think by the end of it that mattered.
Yeah.
And so that could
Yeah,
have
they had less than a skeleton crew operating. I mean, but if they had a full crew, I mean, we couldn't have Uhura stripping, in her 50s, which is what everyone really wanted to see, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then it was just
Great calves, though. I mean, the definition.
God.
This is just.
I know that body double just nailed it. It
No, that's her.
was not.
Yes, it was.
That was her actually dancing.
Yep.
No way.
There's a trivia about this that we're gonna get to that 100% was her.
That's awesome. Never would have guessed that. Those were some
Yep.
good calves for good gams on that lady. Oh, Nichelle, things you got into.
So yeah, coming into this one, I've tried to avoid spoilers of things, so I don't know much. I know a few things. I've heard, I don't know if you've even said it, but I've heard the odd numbered movies tend to be not great. And I've heard that clip from The Big Bang Theory I sent you earlier, where they were just like, in what way is five worse than one? And Raj said Star Trek 5 worse than Star Trek 1. So that was something
Yeah,
I had in the back of my mind. So I had
it
low
is also worse than
expectations.
Star Trek One. I
I had
mean,
so I had low expectations coming into it. I wasn't expecting much. I don't remember where. I don't know if it was one of you two, but I have heard this one also referred to as the movie where they go to hell. Uh,
yeah, typically I've heard
and
it
so
referred
then,
to as the God movie.
okay. Yeah, I had heard
So
it as the one where they go to hell. And so I think, yeah, we're getting about probably 16, 17 minutes left. And I'm just like, okay, when is that going to happen? Or did I just have that completely wrong?
no, we'll
And then
get
I was
to
like,
that
oh,
later.
there it kind of is.
We're we're
Um,
we're not to the trivia yet.
yeah,
There's
but
a lot of trivia for this movie. Like a shocking amount of
but
trivia.
yeah, I just felt like the first half of it was super light. The second half of it was pretty heavy. And it didn't feel like it. I guess it was easy to watch over multiple days because it felt like watching two episodes. And so they weren't really all that, didn't really feel all that related. Um, but yeah, I don't know.
Abby, what did you rate this?
I'm right with you guys. Out of 5. I mean, it's entertaining because it's our people and who we're used to seeing on stuff, but it's a rough movie to watch as a movie.
Is it
Um,
is it at all ironic that we gave the fifth movie all fives? Like all three of us gave number five fives.
because it wasn't like terrible. Like I wasn't offended by
No, it's
anything on
not.
it. It wasn't a great watch.
Yeah.
It was one that I tolerated because it's Star Trek. It wasn't one that I'd be like, you know what Star Trek movie I want to watch right now? 5. There'll be moments where I'll be like, I'll watch Whales movie again. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
That had some good moments to it. And I'll even say even one just because of the foreshadowing, not foreplay. Holy crap. Foreshadowing with V'ger. I mean,
I
there's
think we found our
there was. I
episode
mean, you
title.
got some weird sex lady in the first one, I guess. But yeah, I
Foreshadowing,
just
not foreplay.
foreshadowing, not foreplay. Please don't make that the episode title.
Already
Um,
done.
any rate.
So I was trying to think the opening scene of it
Yep.
felt like it really reminded me of the opening, I think the opening of Thor Love and Thunder. It reminded me
Yes, yeah.
of like the Christian Bale character just in this desert area, kind of made
Yep.
me think of that. Um, and then that there ended the comparisons. But just kind of had that thought when I was watching it. I had to look it up because I was just like, it reminded me of something, but I couldn't put my finger on what it was. So I just had to look that
I,
up. But yeah.
for me, it kind of had some like Tatooine vibes from Star Wars.
Yep.
Had some
I
Dune
I
vibes
felt
to it.
I felt a
Like,
number of points in this movie I was thinking like this reminds me of Star Wars. Um it was nothing big, nothing major, but there were
yeah.
just a few points where it felt very Star Wars.
Well, and I'm gonna make the controversial maybe statement that part of my challenge with Star Wars has been style over substance. And I think
Hmm.
that's what they were trying to go for here to a certain extent was style over substance. And they didn't get there either, but
Right.
um yeah, it wasn't a movie that made me think real hard. Um and it wasn't a movie that whose like action or story or anything like that made me go, wow, this is awesome. And I don't care that the story doesn't make me think that hard.
Right.
But give me one or the other, right?
Yeah. So I had the thought watching this too, if this was the first exposure I had to Star Trek, it would probably be the last exposure I had to Star Trek. I don't see anything in this without having the background watching the shows and the movies
Yep.
that would bring me back for anything else. I'm intellectually curious if I would view it differently sitting down and watching it straight through. And now hearing what you're saying, I'm not sure I want to do
I don't
that to
think you
myself.
would.
But and I don't entirely feel that like I felt watching it like I was missing something, but I don't feel like I was missing something, if that makes sense. I
Makes
feel
complete
like
sense.
I feel like something was missing because it wasn't there.
Yeah.
But there were enough little things missing that it's not like one thing would have fixed it and made it a great movie.
Right.
Like say Wrath of Khan, which is a great movie. So yeah, I
So
just
I get
I don't know.
circle back to the point I was going to make earlier before I realized we hadn't given Abby a chance to weigh in,
Hmm?
which is I, I mean, I think there were a few moments of the movie that were really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that sticks out in my mind is when they're in that kind of lounge area and it's Spock, McCoy, and Kirk along with Cybok. And Cybok's doing his weird, funky mind trick. And he does it to McCoy. And McCoy is forced to face the death of his father again and reckon with all of that. Like, holy crap, was that well acted?
Yeah.
Like that was I wish the whole movie had been as powerful as that like 2 or 3 minute scene had been.
Mm-hmm.
If we could have done that, this movie could have been a 9 or a 10.
Mm-hmm. But there just
So
wasn't enough there
no.
to
The
do it.
the
I
plot
mean,
was too thin.
the plot was very thin. They tried to throw things in there that like the Great Barrier. I mean,
Yeah.
that
And that one bugged me
just
too because we've had how many episodes that talk about the Great Barrier at the edge of the galaxy, but now
right.
there's one in the center of the galaxy. Like which one
Yeah.
is it?
But then I maybe again I missed it, but I don't feel like they really explained how they were able to get through it unless they just kind of brute forced their way through and hoped for the best. Or is
The
it that things have gone through but just never come back?
No, they did explain it terribly as you have to trust that you will make it through. And if you trust that you will make it to the barrier, you will make it through the barrier. You have to have faith is
So
kind of
it's
the
the
idea.
wall at platform 9 3/4.
Yeah, yep, exactly. So Harry Potter before Harry Potter. So that's for
Wait,
J.K.
Checks
Rowling.
out.
Yeah,
why are
yeah.
you trying to ruin Harry Potter for me?
I'm not.
No one's trying to ruin Harry Potter. At least no one on this podcast.
But yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
don't have many more notes from it because so much of my time watching it, I was trying to figure out like what the hell am I watching? Like
I took it.
what's happening? How is it connected to what I just watched? And where is it going? I mean, the
Okay.
search for Eden should be a
That
compelling
should be interesting,
story,
and it was
and
not.
and it just wasn't. I mean,
I took a ton of notes,
Cybok
but
could have been a really compelling character. And again, he was kind of compelling, but not so much that I have many thoughts.
I don't
Um,
remember if you knew about Cybok ahead of time, but was that reveal at all interesting or surprising to you that he was Spock's half brother? Did you care?
I I guess this might be a thing where again I saw the description on
Hmm.
Paramount Plus, not trying to, but just saw relative of Spock. So at that point, I was kind of like, "Yeah, okay."
Yeah.
So it was maybe a big reveal that it was kind of lost on me. Or I don't know if I had inadvertently looked something up, but
Okay.
yeah, I guess it didn't feel like a crazy big reveal, but again, I don't know. how
I think
that
my
should have come. But I don't feel like that really added much to the story
no.
anyway. It could have just been
And
any random ass Vulcan.
well, and I think Spock kind of buried the lead on that for far longer than he probably should have.
Yeah.
Right. Um, and that's a cinematic decision, right?
Yep.
Keep an
Yeah.
element of surprise in there, but I don't think that's how it would have worked in a like a real
Yeah.
scenario.
So the last, I guess, big thought I had in it was like the Enterprise got captured, got taken over, but what did not happen?
Don't even.
What did Kirk
Don't
not do?
Well, he
star
didn't
in the
do a
most
damn good.
boring
He
season
he
of a
didn't
series at
he
all. Not a
he
wormhole.
didn't surrender
Okay,
the
that's
Enterprise. It got
I will give.
captured.
Well,
He did not. Well, it kind of did.
eh,
Kind of got hijacked, but he did not go along with it. He did not surrender like some other captain we've seen
I'm
a
gonna
few times.
argue that yes, he did not surrender. However,
End of discussion.
no, there's no end of discussion here.
I muted him.
God damn you. However, he behaved stupidly basically throughout that entire process and allowed the Enterprise to get captured through his own stupidity.
I do not disagree.
Okay. And in
He
my
did not
mind,
surrender
that's
it.
about as bad as surrendering the ship. So,
Yeah. No,
also,
I
Spock could have shot him in the knee or something. Like, it didn't have to be a point blank blow to the chest. Like,
Um,
just aim a little lower.
okay, so I'm gonna bring this a serious conversation, even though this is not a great movie. But let's talk about this whole planet of intergalactic peace that they coordinated. What made it go wrong beyond having cat strippers, and having it being based on really poor hedonism? What made it fail?
I mean, can you really have anything that is completely peaceful? I mean, living things are living things with competing priorities, right?
mm-hmm.
And it sure seemed like that was a planet that was maybe a little resource constrained. And what happens when resources tend to be constrained?
We've got dirt and more dirt.
Yeah, like we can dig holes and protect our holes in the middle of the desert.
Right.
My hole. My hole.
Yeah, my hole.
What made me laugh was at the end of this, Kirk starts challenging God, because at this point we're, they're all pretty convinced it's God other than him. And he's like, why does God need a starship? And my first thought was, and you're the one they had to have for this highly diplomatic mission. You, the most undiplomatic of the captains we've
Now,
ever seen.
To be
He
fair,
shoots first, asks questions later.
to be fair, I don't think they wanted him to go there. He was brought there,
He was
not
brought
on
there
their
to take
mission.
care of
He wasn't brought to go through the
he was
Great
brought
Barrier
to take care of the
and meet
peaceful
some
planet. The peaceful
entity.
planet, the guy who blows up everything.
Yeah, they just didn't know that he was going to meet some being pretending to be God, right?
Right.
So they didn't know that. But also, I think, Abby, to your point, he was brought there to negotiate a peaceful release of the hostages, and did not like even attempt to do that.
Nope.
No, we're going to land a shuttle and we're just going to take the city by storm and hope for the best. Very diplomatic.
Exactly.
Will he check up on the ship to kind of pretend like he knows, he's negotiating, and then we'll sneak up and just blow everything to hell so that he can get attacked by weird cat lady.
That is something I remember from my childhood, that weird cat lady thing. So clearly I watched this when I was way too young, because I remember that stripper cat lady from like way back.
That cat lady's a trip. Also, I loved, like, in that little cantina or whatever it is, they're playing pool in
Water.
and it's in water. I'm like, aren't you?
Mhm.
kind of taking pool to a very literal like meaning. Um,
I didn't even catch that, but yeah,
yeah,
I didn't catch
just filled
that.
with
Yeah,
water. I don't.
literal pool.
Yep. Did you catch all the next gen um sets and stuff?
No, what next gen
No.
sets?
So the hallways on the Enterprise were the hallways on the Enterprise D because they used the same sets for
Hmm.
filming. They were
Really?
filming in between episodes of Next Gen. Um,
Interesting.
and the sick bay on the Enterprise A is the exact same sick bay as Enterprise D.
Hmm.
They
I did not
reused
notice that.
as much as they could from Next Gen because it was already built. The bridge was um basically a rebuild of the one from um not four because they really you aren't on the Enterprise at all in four, but
No.
in three.
3.
Yeah. It's in
Isn't
its
that
early.
basically the battle bridge?
No, it's not the Battle Bridge.
I thought that was the one from 3.
Um, no, I don't think it was.
Hmm.
Trying to remember. There was something else that was the Battle Bridge. Was it the Klingon ship? I don't
That
remember.
might be it. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, they were filming on the same sound stages as Next Gen to save money on things. So they didn't even bother to redress the hallway sets at all. Same color scheme, the whole works.
Hmm.
Huh. No, I didn't catch it, but I wasn't looking for it either, I suppose.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, funny lines, that's about it. Uh, am I to understand your secret ingredient is alcohol? Whiskey, Tennessee whiskey, which is the worst of all the whiskeys. Hot take. Um, Bourbon and beans, an explosive combination.
So, what would you guess this movie is on Rotten Tomatoes?
They do it as a percentage, right?
Yep, it's an aggregation, so it's a
Fresh.
percentage of ratings that give it 60% or higher. So 3 out of 5 or better.
Are you saying it's 3 out of 5 or better?
No, I'm saying that's what they're looking at the percentage of reviews that they've received
Oh, that
and the
are sort
percentage
of
of
three out of
reviews
five.
that are
Got it.
60% or higher. So 6 out of
I
10
bet it's in the
or
30s.
better. Okay. Abby?
Um, no, they don't go that low usually on those. I'm gonna say they probably gave it a 6.
Okay. So what percentage of the
I
reviews?
think they probably gave it a 62%.
Okay, so you think 62 and you said in the 30s?
Yep.
53 reviews, 23% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, see, you should have told me how many reviews. I think that would have changed my
Okay.
like
Now,
a
what
larger
about
sample
what about the
size.
audience? 50,000 plus ratings.
62.
I'm gonna stick with my 30s.
25. So the
Ugh.
audience likes it a hair more than the critics, but they're pretty much in
Which,
line.
I mean,
Basically, everybody thinks this movie sucks, or is at
makes
least
sense for, the late
below
80s, early
60.
90s,
Yeah,
right? Where the critics tended to be more in line with the audiences versus nowadays there tends to be a huge split,
big
one way or the
disparity.
other, right?
Yep. Yep.
Uh,
Still can be kind of fun
it is very fun.
to look at. As a top critic, Gene Siskel gave the review. This film is neither much of a character story nor an action adventure. He rated it 1.5 out of 4.
Well, so IMDb, 65,000 reviews, 5.5 out of 10. So basically where we put it.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, give us some
Well,
trivia, Nick.
Yeah, you got some good trivia?
Nate.
I do. I have so much trivia that will probably fill out the rest of this episode. Like, no joke. However, I did see one note in here that I just want to call attention to because it made me laugh when I saw it. So, if am I to believe, based on what I saw when they met God on Shakari, and he's revealed to them that he's Santa Claus? Because he looked like Santa Claus.
No, I think he was supposed to look like modern
I know, but he
Christ.
looked like Santa
A
Claus.
modern conception of a godlike figure.
Yes. With the long silver hair and the long silver beard and the wrinkly skin and yada yada yada. But that's also Santa Claus. And so I'm going to say that God is Santa Claus. And that's where
But he wasn't
or
God. He was more like the devil.
yeah, I mean, he was a superior being to what they were, but he was not a deity by any stretch of the
Yeah,
imagination.
which is why Kirk called bullshit on him
Yeah,
pretty quickly. He was just like,
and
hold
rightfully so.
on. If you're who you say you are, you either don't need our starship or you're not that powerful. And it
Yep.
can't be both.
Yep. What does an omnipotent being need with a ship?
Yep.
All right.
Do you want to do trivia first, or do you guys want to be quizzed first? Because I put some
Just quiz
quiz.
questions.
I'm gonna
I
suck
got
at
you some
I'm gonna suck at
quiz
this quiz.
questions.
I don't know if I'm going to do great at the quiz because this is not a movie that I've watched over and over and over again.
It's not that exciting, but here we go.
Okay.
Let's do it.
For the rules, buzz in with your name.
Yep.
If you're the other one who buzzes in, you can always just give the answer.
Hmm.
What national park on Earth are Kirk, Spock,
Aaron.
and McCoy camping at? Aaron said it first.
Yep.
Yosemite.
Yosemite. What rock formation is Kirk
Nate.
climbing? Nate?
El Capitan.
Now I do have to not criticize your answer there because that was right. I'm gonna nitpick though. They said he was free climbing it, and that is incorrect. Free climbing is where you're going up with a rope. He was free soloing like Alex Honnold did in the movie Free Solo.
You're
Fair,
real cool.
Except
enough.
for unlike Alex Honnold, he fell off.
What was
I don't
what was
understand why anyone would do that, but that's just me. I if I were gonna do that and I'm not, rope sounds like a good idea. Just me. It's my
the
opinion.
Enterprise crew was called back from shore leave and to respond to a hostage crisis on what planet?
Aaron.
Yep.
Nimbus 3,
Nimbus 3.
the intergalactic planet of peace.
Who is Spock's brother's mother?
Nate.
Aaron.
Yep.
I don't think they ever give her a name, but she was a Vulcan princess.
Vulcan princess.
Mm-hmm.
What was Spock's brother's name?
Nate.
Aaron.
Nate.
Cyborg.
Actually, that was his half brother's name. The answer was there is no brother.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Whatever.
What does Cyborg take away from what does he take away from people using a Vulcan mind meld?
Nate, I'm going to argue it's not a Vulcan mind meld, by the way. There is no mind meld. But basically their deepest pain.
Pain. What was the name of the place Spock's half brother is trying to travel to?
Nate.
Yep.
Shakari.
Shakari. In the memory he was forced to relive, who does Dr. McCoy take off at life support?
Aaron.
Yep.
His father.
Mm-hmm. Complete Kirk's quote. What does God need?
Nate.
Aaron.
Yep. Nate.
With a starship.
What is the name of the Klingon captain pursuing them?
Nate.
Aaron.
Nate.
Claw.
What does Spock tell Kirk not to do in front of the Klingons?
Oh, crap.
Aaron.
Aaron.
It was like show emotion or like thank him. Yeah, give him a hug.
It was giving him a hug.
Yeah.
He was about to hug him.
I wrote down the line and I
Not in
didn't
front of
write
the
down
car.
what it was, and
It's
that
a hug.
makes me
Yeah.
mad.
So he was being emotional. He was
hug.
going up to him and trying to give him a hug. Yeah.
It was a hug. Who directed the film?
Aaron.
I know you boys
We
both
both
know
know
it.
it.
Yeah, Shatner.
So,
Yeah.
William Shatner.
And I think that was part of their like favored nations
It
deal
was.
they
Yep.
had because it was kind of a controversy that Shatner did not direct number 4, but
And there was a pay dispute.
they promised him number 5 because of that.
Yep.
And
After
they got
after
Nimoy
Leonard
to do
Ne-
it because let Nemo direct it.
and Nimoy did number 3 as well, and that's how they brought him back. But yeah, then he
It
did
was
number 4, and
that
it was a big controversy.
that is one of the trivia questions, the favored
Hmm.
nation status. So nice job. I'll skip over that
Well, I
one.
got good job, boys. You paid attention.
Thank God for that.
What was the name of the shuttlecraft they took?
Nate, Galileo.
I knew
No,
that.
way
Was it
wrong.
Copernicus?
It was Copernicus.
They're
I thought it was
both in
Galileo.
I paid attention to
Galileo.
No,
No,
it was
Galileo was
Copernicus.
was the first part because it was
Nope.
Galileo earlier.
I'm talking whatever one they
They
took when they
crashed.
went. Yeah, the one they crashed back
Galileo is
into.
what went down to get them at Yosemite. Because I pay
Yeah,
attention
that's
to
not
that
the one I was talking about. I was
Be more
talking about,
specific in your questions, Game
Yeah.
Master.
but no, because I saw Copernicus and I was like, I need to file that one away.
Yeah, they are both in the
'Cause
movie.
I'm
I
gonna
know
win
from the
that
trivia.
question.
So, okay. Are we ready for some other trivia?
Yeah.
So, during pre-production meetings, screenwriter David Loffrey jokingly proposed to have Commander Uhura appear as an exotic dancer or erotic dancer. Sorry, gotta make it even more clear. In order to lure away hostage takers from the Paradise compound. He was surprised when the producers approved of his idea right away. And there's more about that later. We'll get there. This one, yeah, I think also kind of plays into what I talked about, which is DeForest Kelley went into seclusion after filming the death of McCoy's father because he was deeply personally involved with his own father.
Oh,
Like it hurt him so much to film that he had to go hide away.
that's sad.
Leonard Nimoy noted that this is the most physical film in the series, which reflected William Shatner's energetic sensibility and what he enjoyed doing most on the series, running and jumping.
What?
Yeah, so he talked about like this felt like a very Kirk, like run around and do stuff movie. That's because that's what Shatner wanted to do.
I don't know if the crew actually enjoyed filming this one or they were like, okay, guys, this was ridiculous.
We'll get there.
I was
Okay.
gonna say
Lots of opinions.
my speculation is like the Sulus and Chekhovs, they may have enjoyed it fine because it was just kind of par for the course for some of their stuff. But I could imagine Leonard Nimoy was just like, you want me to do what with these fucking boots?
That's probably fair. Okay, so Cybok was originally named Zar, Z-A-R, and in early drafts was unrelated to Spock. Harv Bennett came up with the Spock-Cybok family relationship to strengthen Spock's rationale regarding his actions relating to Cybok. Shatner was opposed to the idea, feeling this was too gimmicky and too much like a plotline out of a soap opera. Probably not wrong.
Yeah. I don't feel like that aspect of the story really made much difference to it. I mean,
Yeah. It was
unless it was supposed to be a big shock when he did Spock's pain and was going to convince Spock to come to the bridge with him, and
Yeah.
Spock said no. But again, whether his brother or somebody else who has that power, I don't feel like that made any substantial difference in
Right.
the telling of the story, even a little.
Yep. I agree. The only place where it makes like has an impact is why Spock won't shoot him.
Yeah.
Just so they can throw in the line, I can't kill my brother. okay. Like
Then I'm trying
that's
to think back.
Yeah.
How many other people has Spock shot?
not many.
Right. So again, that doesn't really add a whole lot to it because that's not something he's normally doing.
Yep,
It's normally Kirk.
also fair. All right, so according to George Takei, he originally turned down this film because he did not want to be directed by William Shatner, with whom he had a long-standing feud, but Shatner convinced Takei to reprise his role.
Hmm.
Did he ever get better with Takai or
No,
no?
they hate each other.
Yeah.
Still to this day?
They will, on occasion, throw barbs at each other on Twitter and stuff like
Yep.
that.
For real, even still?
Yeah, they do not get along at
Oh,
all.
I heard I don't remember where I heard it, but I heard an interview with William Shatner where he basically dismissed George Takei and all of his criticisms of him as like you were on my show a couple days a week. Like
Mhm.
I don't even know you.
Yeah, basically, he's a background character. Why should I give a shit about him?
Yeah.
Mhm. So Shatner's your president.
But he was still saying stuff like that when he's like 90.
Yeah.
And he's just like I basically saying like I don't know what his beef is with me. I barely knew him back then and yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I don't
kind of
know.
the read I've got on
Um,
that feud as it stands now.
I feel like it's probably a situation at this point where, you go on Reddit and read the Am I the Asshole posts, and every once in a while you get one where it's everyone's shitty here. They're probably both.
Oh yeah.
They both played into it, right?
Oh yeah.
So let's see here. So we talk about, you know, the movie being kind of disjointed and things like that. So William Shatner's cut ran slightly over 2 hours, not including the end credits, which Paramount Studios thought was too long. Their target runtime was 1 hour and 45 minutes, which would guarantee twice nightly theatrical screenings. Harve Bennett was handed the task of shortening the film's running time, despite Shatner's view that nothing could possibly be removed. Shatner was horrified by Bennett's edit, and the two haggled over what parts to restore or delete.
Now I would be interested to see the director's cut
So,
because I've the movie that always sticks out to me is Kingdom of Heaven.
yeah,
Because I saw that movie in the theater and was completely underwhelmed by it. I
yeah,
was disappointed because I wanted to see a Ridley Scott period piece, epic, and wanted to see something that blew me away like Gladiator did when I was
yep.
14. And that movie did not do it. I can't even tell you exactly what pieces they had cut out that they added back in. The director's cut is like 45 minutes longer and is a phenomenal movie. So sometimes cutting out some of those pieces makes a huge difference. So I would be very interested to see what the director's cut is. Because
We'll,
that 20 minutes could put in a whole bunch of stuff that's like, well, now this all makes sense.
I'm gonna try and find, because I don't want to paraphrase anything here.
Or it could be way worse.
So hang on. Let me.
Depends on how much you like row your boat.
I said there was a ton of trivia here, and I'm trying to find the stupid. Here we go. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
William Shatner asked Paramount Studios for money to complete this film the way he originally intended for release on DVD. It's not really, necessarily all that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Unfortunately, Paramount Studios refused. To this day, we might never see this the way Shatner originally intended.
Hmm.
So he, at one point, really wanted to do a director's cut, and Paramount wouldn't do it.
That's interesting. Now, again, that director's cut could be terrible.
Could be terrible.
But like I said, I am willing to say a movie can go from being underwhelming and mediocre to okay to being great
Yep.
with the director's cut. And on the flip side of that, I've seen the director's cut of Gladiator, and all of the deleted scenes like added nothing to the movie.
Yeah.
So the theatrical release was nearly perfect, and the director's cut added minimal.
There's
Um,
enough tidbits of information in the trivia
mhm.
that does make me kind of want to see the director's cut, because I do feel like it would at least be marginally better.
Yeah.
It'd make a little more sense at times.
So I'm curious how much of that would be in this.
Some of it is, and we'll get there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you guys are way ahead of me tonight. All right. So originally, Spock and McCoy were to side with Sybok. Leonard Nimoy and DeForest Kelley objected, saying their characters would never betray Kirk, and Roddenberry agreed.
I would agree.
Yeah, I would have a hard time with that one.
They if they are in control of their minds in any way, they're not going to abandon Kirk.
Yeah, for sure. Which is what they had to do, right?
Yep.
Kind of take people out of their minds. All right. So, again, according to George Takei, who apparently likes to talk about this movie, despite studio pressure to complete the film on time, William Shatner maintained a creative and enthusiastic atmosphere on set. He says, I have enormous admiration for his ability to block that kind of pressure from seeping onto the set. Moreover, Takei acknowledged, despite our sometimes strained personal history, I found working with Bill as a director to be surprisingly pleasant.
That's like saying actually. Instead of saying surprisingly pleasant, like which is like a backhanded
Yeah.
compliment, he could just said, I found working with him
Yeah.
pleasant. I actually enjoyed working with
I
him.
mean, you're not wrong.
But with the public history they have, yeah, saying surprisingly
Because
pleasant.
they're both
Yeah.
assholes, it's okay. He was
Yeah.
only a little bit of an asshole
I-
while saying this.
I'm
did
saying it
watch-
makes sense.
I did watch a YouTube video, again, fed to me by accident by the wonderful YouTube algorithm a couple weeks ago, where they talked about Kirk as a director. And part of the challenge with him was he was a great actor's director, in that because he was an actor, he understood how to kind of, direct a cast and get people to do what needed to be done and that kind of thing. And that in of itself is an art form. He was terrible in all other aspects of being a director in terms of budget and timeline and stuff like that, because he just didn't care. And to be successful, you kind of have to have both. And he's really good at one and terrible at the other. Which is kind of interesting. All right. Deleted scenes included Captain Kirk being pursued by rock monsters on the planet Shakari. The rock monsters were men in rubber suits and also included a smoking effect. According to William Shatner, in order to achieve this, cigarette smoke was blown into the suits before cameras rolled. The rock monsters were scrapped from the film on the account of lack of credibility and time constraints. The idea of the rock monsters was eventually used in the Star Trek
Galaxy
parody
Quest.
Galaxy Quest.
I literally was just thinking, rock, rock,
There you go.
rock.
Yes.
That's funny.
Oh, God.
Should we go back to Uhura's dance for a minute?
I was trying
Sure.
not to think about Uhura's dance.
An accomplished singer and dancer, Nichelle Nichols provided an authentic performance of the fan dance routine in this film. She was outraged when her vocals in the scene were later overdubbed in editing without her approval. So she was, what I read in other places was she did not want to do this scene. She was convinced to do it because she could sing and was really passionate about singing. And then later they had a completely different singer come in and dub over the top of everything she had done. And she had no idea it ever happened.
Hmm.
Kind of a shitty thing to do.
Yeah.
George Takei who again has a lot to say about this movie, said his biggest challenge is learning how to ride a horse.
Hmm.
Here's a fun one. Stuntman Kenny Bates is credited with the highest descender fall in the United States, standing in for William Shatner's fall from El Capitan.
Hmm. How far was it?
Doesn't say how far. Really high. How's that? Very scientific. So, traditionally, in previous movies, all of the visual effects were done by Industrial Light and Magic, ILM, George Lucas's special effects company at the time.
Mm-hmm.
In this movie, the film's visual effects were not done by ILM because the members of ILM were already working on Ghostbusters 2 and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. This hindered the film's ending greatly because it was meant to be much longer than Captain Kirk simply being chased by God. A sequence was produced, but it had to be cut out as a result of awful-looking visual effects, and as a result was replaced with more shots of Jordan Murdoch's face, except his eyes glowed. So, I don't know. Could have been more.
Yeah. Again, part of I think where the movie struggled was that scene was just kind of, it was really brief. Like, I'm
Yep.
glad it wasn't dragged out a whole lot longer, but it just felt like, and it's over.
Yeah. So this one is kind of funny, and I vaguely remember this in other scenes relating to it. But one of the jokes about Star Trek is that the captain's yeoman rarely has anything important to do. So if you think back to the original series, so like Yeoman Rand and all that, they show up and hand him a thing, and he signs it, and they might bring him coffee or whatever, right? As William Shatner would later admit in an interview, the scene with his real-life daughter, Melanie Shatner, the yeoman is his daughter, would result in a failed attempt at a joke. After Kirk arrives on the bridge from his R&R, he hands his coat to the yeoman, who then proceeds to spend the rest of the scene wandering around the bridge. The joke is that on the Starship's bridge, there's no place to hang a jacket. Failed joke. Could have been funny. Wasn't. Yeah. Does anyone know who was originally offered to play the role of Sybok?
Oh, I did hear this. I don't remember what it was, though. I don't remember the answer.
One, Sir Sean Connery.
Not who I heard.
But
so.
turned it down on account of the fact that they were filming Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Unpopular opinion, wildly overrated movie.
I honestly, it has been so long since I've watched any of them. I can't remember which ones are good and which ones are bad, other than Crystal Skull sucked. That's all I
Crystal
remember.
Skull did suck. I haven't
But
seen
I
the
haven't
newest
watched
one.
any of them. I haven't seen the newest one. I have not
But-
watched the original 3 in 15 years, I bet.
Yeah. Raiders of the Lost Ark, always great. But yeah, Last Crusade, I think I've only seen it once, and I was like, nope, just did not care for it.
Yep. All right, let's see here. So the actor who played Sybok, his name is Lawrence Luckinbill. He is the real life son-in-law of Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball.
Interesting.
So that was fun. Let's see here. Gene Roddenberry was said to be unhappy with the film as the story was.
Which is the Lucille Ball thing is a big deal because whose studio is heavily involved with that. That makes sense.
Desilu
Yep.
Productions produced the first 2 seasons of Star Trek, the original series. Nice little callback. So Gene Roddenberry was said to be unhappy with the film. Go figure, he was unhappy about everything all the time. But he was unhappy as the story was too similar to his initial script for the Star Trek revival project, which he wrote during the 1970s.
Hmm.
Roddenberry's script, which centered around the Enterprise discovering and eventually killing God, was rejected by Paramount Studios, who felt the subject matter would be too controversial. I should not have looked at my screen to see Aaron's face as I said that, because that was amazing, and I couldn't do it anymore. So,
Yeah,
oh, that would be
that
controversial.
I could see that being kind of a shitty thing to happen. Like, hey, I want to make this series. Here's my story, and they're just like, no, we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Except for in 15 years, we'll make
Well,
it a movie.
and they sidestepped around that by having them kill not God, right?
Right.
So, worked around it to avoid any kind of
Yeah.
offense or anything like that. So,
Was Gene Roddenberry a producer on this movie, or was he involved in
I
it in any way? Or at
believe
this
he
point,
would,
was it just he's
he
getting
might
kind
have
of
been an
cursory
executive
credit?
producer.
He's just getting credit for being the original creator, but didn't have any meaningful impact on it.
Let me see what I can figure out real quick, because I think that's a great question. He is credited as writing.
Hmm.
Him, William Shatner, and Harv Bennett, and David Loughery. He has creator credits, which is not a surprise. He has producer credits, executive producer credits on this as well. So I would say pretty heavily involved. Let's see. We talked about this already, but the Enterprise D corridor sets from Next Generation were used as Enterprise A corridors in this film. Very few cosmetic alterations were made so as to not interfere with filming of the television series, which was underway at the same time. Let's see. I'm going to skip over some of these. According to William Shatner, the film's main plot themes and elements were inspired by the televangelist movement of the late 1980s, which I think you could kind of see in Sybok, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the laying of hands. Yeah. Let's see. Initially, William Shatner believed that this film would get a positive response. In the morning after the opening night, he woke up Leonard Nimoy to tell him that the Los Angeles Times had given the film a positive review. Soon after, a local television reporter also gave the film a good review, and Shatner recalled that he incorrectly began sensing a positive trend. He later agreed that the film nearly ended the movie franchise, and looking back on the film, called it a failed but glorious attempt at a thought-provoking film that did not come together. Let's
That's, I
see.
think, kind of the assessment we gave it,
Yeah,
where
I don't disagree with that. I think it had
it could have
potential.
had potential to be great and just wasn't.
Yep. William Shatner originally wanted Sybok's horse to be a unicorn, adding a more mythical approach to the character. But
It
Gene
was a
Roddenberry,
It
unicorn.
was a unicorn.
It
no,
was a unicorn.
it was a rhino. It had a short
It
horn, not a long horn.
it was
It
a
looked like the
unicorn.
the damn horse that's outside the goddamn Denver airport is what it looked like.
It had a horn in the front. I was like, is that a unicorn? We have
But
Star
it's a
Trek
little
unicorns.
horn. It's not the
It's
unicorns have
it's
the big the
it's
big
like
long horn.
what do unicorns have again? Nate, show us again. Straight out of your head.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh, no, it was a rhino horn. It was short and stubby.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. Every time I see those horses, I'm thinking of that damn horse statue that's outside the Denver airport. I don't know if either one of you have ever driven by that thing.
I've never been there, but I've heard
Creepy.
about the Denver airport. There are things at the Denver airport.
That is the worst goddamn airport in the country. And I've spent far too much time flying in and out of it. Oh my God. Anyway,
Have you gone and looked at the murals?
I try and get in and out of that airport as fast as I humanly can. I'm just gonna listen. You both know that I used to travel all the time, and I had all the things pre-check, clear, all the things to get through security as fast as possible. That is the only airport with pre-check and clear where it has taken me almost an hour to get through security with both of those things.
Mm.
That airport sucks. When the clear line is down the end of the terminal,
Damn.
like it's awful. Anyway, we're off the rails. Gene Roddenberry disapproved of this, saying that it would turn Star Trek into a space fantasy instead of science fiction. Let's see. William Shatner scheduled the campfire scenes to be the last one shot, after which the cast and crew had a small celebration before a traditional wrap party later.
That's clever.
This is the only Star Trek film to win or even be nominated for the Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Picture. And it won that year. Do we want to talk more about the favored nations clause, or do we think we've got a good handle on that?
Either way.
Ever since Star Trek, Shatner and Nimoy's lawyers drafted what Shatner termed a favored nations clause, with the result that whatever Shatner received, e.g. a pay raise or script control, Nimoy also got, and vice versa. When Shatner signed on for Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home, following a pay dispute, Shatner was promised he could direct the next film. Let's see. I love this one. This one made me laugh very hard when I read it earlier today. A stunt performer, Linda Fetters Howard, played the felinoid exotic dancer, or cat lady. She wore airbrush makeup that covered most of her body, prosthetic claws on her hands and feet, a wig and clip-on tail made of human hair, contacts to make her eyes appear cat-like, false bosoms, and a full face mask. The makeup application took about 6 hours to complete. She has approximately 53 seconds of screen time.
Mm-hmm. So thinking about that scene where they were just kind of showing all of that going on,
yeah,
I think that's where I had it just felt very Jabba's palace from Star Wars.
for
So I
sure.
think that was one of the felt like Star Wars moments
I
that
think
I
that's
had.
part of the reason why I keep referring to it as a cantina versus anything else, is it
Yep.
feels very cantina-esque, very Mos
Yep.
Eisley kind of. Let's see. During location shooting, locals were hired to portray Cybok's army during his raid on Nimbus 3. Because of the severe budget cuts, not enough number of these extras, many of them were reused in different shots, running through the gates over and over again. All right. Let's see here. This one was interesting. Shortly before the beginning of location shooting, Hollywood union truck drivers, or Teamsters, went on strike to protest pay cuts and overtime changes. With deadlines looming, the production searched for non-union drivers, aware that the Teamsters may retaliate by sabotaging equipment or flying airplanes above the filming to ruin audio recordings. After one of the production's camera trucks exploded in the studio parking lot, the non-union drivers headed to Yosemite National Park under cover of darkness with a police escort.
Wow.
So they bombed one of the camera trucks.
Wow.
Um,
Damn.
I caught this. I wasn't sure if it was intentional. I literally wrote it down in my notes, and then I found the trivia for it later. I'm curious if either one of you noticed this, or if it's just nerdy enough that I'm the only one. When Captain Kirk enters the bar during the Federation attack on the outpost, as the cat-like creature is attacking the captain, James Brown's opening shout from his hit song I Feel Good is dropped in several times while the two fight. And I think it was supposed to be like a cat scream, but it was very clearly that, oh, from I Feel Good. And if
I did
that's
not
not a
catch
reason to
that.
go back and rewatch the movie, watch it up until that point and then turn it off. Um, because it 100% is.
Hmm.
Let's see. Towards the end of the film's theatrical run, Paramount Studios paired this with Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade for double feature showings. So, I mean, what a lineup of movies to be released against. So this opened the same weekend as Dead Poets Society, which is a
Wow.
phenomenal movie, one of my
Yep.
favorites. And it took the #1 spot away from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, the weekend total of $17.3 million.
Hmm.
Let's see. So William Shatner's original idea for the climactic battle with the false god was for the ground to give way and reveal the 10 levels of hell in homage to Dante's Inferno. The rock monsters were supposed to be part of the sequence, but as Paramount Studios refused to increase the film's budget, the idea, along with the already created rock monsters, was canceled. And that's where I think it could have been kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Done right. Like you could still do that very poorly.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked to have seen that. Because of the film's relatively poor box office performance, this was released directly to video in most foreign locations.
Hmm.
William Shatner practiced aerobics and strength training daily to practice for this film. The physical activity and directing duties meant that he woke at 4 a.m. every day during filming, no matter what time he fell asleep.
Hmm.
Concerned that the franchise's momentum following Star Trek IV had disappeared, Paramount Studios rushed this film into production in late 1988, despite the writer's strike cutting into pre-production. Remember the writer's strike at the end of Next Gen Season 1?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Let's see. I'm skipping over some of this stuff. All right, so Spock makes an uncharacteristic mistake when he calls marshmallows by the name marshmelons.
Mm-hmm.
The novelization, Aaron,
Mm-hmm.
shows that McCoy, knowing Spock would want to study the ship's computer library about camping before their trip, paid a computer tech to change all references in the Enterprise computer about marshmallows to marshmelons. The novel also includes characterizations of McCoy's and Kirk's reactions, and McCoy having a silent laugh at Spock's error. In the final picture, McCoy simply stumbles over the pronunciation to continue the joke. Later in the levitation boot scene, on the Enterprise, Kirk again mentions marshmelons, which some have thought to be the mistake, but it is evidence he also recognized Spock's error. When they return to the campsite at the ending of the novel, Spock has since detected McCoy's activity and has had his misinformation corrected.
That's funny.
I wish that had actually gotten into the movie because it was
Mm-hmm.
funny to hear him say it, but it's funnier to know the context behind it.
Right.
Walter Koenig said in interviews he only worked 8 days on this film. He was also in about 5 seconds worth of footage. So, um, again, more things that this was up against. Oh, well, first, Associates and Farron, which is the special effects company that they use instead of ILM, had 3 months to complete the special effects work, which is around half the usual industry time frame, which is part of the reason why they look like crap.
Mm-hmm.
So here are the other movies, some I've already said, that this was up against when this was released over the summer. Batman,
Okay.
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade,
Yep.
License to Kill, Lethal Weapon 2, and Ghostbusters 2.
Wow.
Some heavy hitters to compete against.
Yeah.
Not an entirely
Um,
different league.
yeah.
I'm curious with how this one did when they greenlit Star Trek 6.
I don't know. It was
Because I mean, if Shatner even thought after it came out, like this may have killed the franchise.
yeah.
I mean, that's pretty damning. But yeah, at least at some point they said, let's give it another shot.
George Takei, again, full of opinions apparently. Expected the film as a disappointment because the script seemed rather a muddle, as if three separately interesting stories forced sealed together into one, which made for a confusing and ultimately tiresome 2 hours.
Basically what I said.
Yeah. Um, this one kind of I don't know. Maybe I don't know anything, but this one was a weird piece of trivia for me. Um, so when Captain Kirk, Spock, and McQuire are in the brig, Kirk presses a button, causing a seat to emerge from the wall. The seat is evidently a toilet with the lid down, because on the wall there's a warning that is not to be used while in space dock. The giveaway here is that in the United States, the restrooms on passenger trains used to have signs saying toilets were not to be used when the train is stopped at a station. This is because there were no holding tanks and the toilet contents were simply dumped onto the tracks when it was flushed.
Hmm.
So I didn't know that was a thing with trains.
Yeah.
So,
I knew it was a thing with Asian trains. I didn't know it was a thing with.
trivia makes it sound like it used to be a thing with American
it's current.
trains and maybe
It's-
is not anymore.
It's currently still a thing with Asian trains.
Well,
It's just a hole.
I'm not shocked. Uh, let's see here. Lots of reused footage from previous movies. I don't think we need to go into depth on that. I think we all knew that. Um, let's see. This film was produced during the second season of The Next Generation, making this the first time that a Star Trek film was made while a Star Trek television series was in production. The same would be true for every subsequent Star Trek film up to and including Star Trek Nemesis.
Hmm.
Let's see. Abby's favorite character from The Next Gen, Will Wheaton, Wesley Crusher.
No, he's not my favorite. Tasha Yar was my favorite.
Okay, that's fair.
Will Wheaton, I just think was never set up for success with his lines.
100%. I also just like to tease you a little bit.
I like Will Wheaton. Will, if you want to come on our podcast, we'll love you.
Absolutely. I would love to have Will on the podcast. He snuck on the set during filming to meet his idol, William Shatner, and was deeply hurt and disappointed when Shatner was rude to him. Shocking. Roddenberry spoke to Shatner about Wheaton, and Shatner apologized to him by sending him a card which told Wheaton that he's a fine young actor and would be honored to have him visit his Enterprise set any day.
Dad got you in trouble. Dad yelled at him.
Yep. Won't piss off Roddenberry. I think we're getting towards the end. Let's see here. The film shows the largest living thing to which Spock applies his famous nerve pinch, a horse.
I do remember thinking, did he just do that to a horse?
Yeah. Captain Kirk refers to Spock as his brother who is lost but came back. It is odd that Kirk did not mention his own brother, George Samuel Kirk, who is seen briefly in Operation Annihilate as a corpse played by William Shatner and Mustache.
I did think through that because I was just like, okay, so he's talking about Spock coming back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, his brother came back? It's like, I thought he was real dead.
Yeah, real dead.
That was actually a decent episode of that original series too.
Mm-hmm.
With the back sponges.
Oh boy. Let's see. The entire film was filmed in such a tight schedule that many of the shots were set up in a matter of a few minutes instead of a few hours.
Hmm.
Max von Sydow was favored for the role of Sybok. Also would have been interesting. This is the first Star Trek film not to be nominated for a Hugo Award for Best Dramatic Presentation. Let's see. At one point, they were building 5 different sets at one time. This was the last Star Trek film released during Gene Roddenberry's lifetime. He died 2 days after seeing the rough cut of the next film, The Undiscovered Country.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
See, I think he died in what, 91?
yeah, that sounds about right. Let's see. There was a Nintendo game that was planned for this, but canceled when the film did so poorly.
That's funny.
Isn't that great? Unusual for a Star Trek film, Captain Kirk does not appear in his full standard uniform until almost 80 minutes into the movie's runtime.
Hmm. 'Cause, yeah,
Nothing
he's
really
wearing
happened in this
jeans and
runtime.
flannel.
Yep.
It's okay. We caught him on the way to the shower. Remember? That was his line.
By a strange quirk of fate, Spice Williams Crosby, who plays Vixis, the female Klingon, would end up having another Star Trek connection by going on to marry the half-brother of Denise Crosby, played Tasha Yar. With 21% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes as of 2023. This is the worst rated Star Trek movie.
Yeah.
At least as of 2023, it was the final cinematic appearance of Lawrence Luckinbill, who played Sybok. First Star Trek film to feature a Romulan. Sorry, I didn't read this one earlier, but it's very funny. A teaser tagline for the film was, "Why are seatbelts being installed in movie theaters this summer?" This is intended to be a reference to the film's fast pacing, not suggesting that audiences would need to be strapped in and forced to watch it.
Oops.
Oops.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. This is the last Star Trek film to be released in the summer until the Star Trek reboot with Chris Pine and that cast. I think we're good. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trivia.
Yeah.
You can cut
It's
some of that out if you want. I don't care.
yeah, interesting stuff. I like the behind the scenes stuff and
Yep.
kind of getting that peek behind the curtain. But yeah, it was just I don't feel it was a terrible movie, but it was just nothing. Um, we'll see if and when I get around to watching it again. But
I don't think
yeah,
you have to rush.
it's again, like I said before, if I didn't have like 120 episodes and 4 other movies
Yep.
already watched, this would not get me to invest in a series.
Mhm.
Now I'll say it's like God, what was I gonna say? Now it could have been a situation like, say, the Fast and the Furious, where the first few movies not very good, and then they take off. But yeah, if this was my only experience, I would need to hear an awful lot of positive of the other stuff to even give it a chance.
Yep.
So I'm glad I watched this when I did. Um, and then kind of the last thing I thought, how I wonder who the audience was for this movie. I wonder if it was a lot of next generation fans, and then how how it was a little jarring to see like, oh yeah, this is back when they still fought the Klingons. Um, and having not really seen where that transition happened from them being enemies to allies,
Right.
where it's just taken for granted in next gen. Um, so yeah, just seeing some of that it was a bit jarring going back, but still follows that timeline or whatever. But yeah, thought that was kind of interesting to see like, oh yeah, this was back when they were still at least somewhat adversarial.
Yep.
And things were tight. I mean, we've even seen still they can get kind of adversarial because not everyone's on board, but just in that general sense that they're closer to allies than enemies. Um, yeah. And then 10 days later went back to new episodes of Next Gen.
Yeah. Crazy.
So,
It is interesting because I couldn't remember too. We talk about this potentially killing the movie franchise at the very least. There really isn't all that much time between 5 and 6 because 6 did come out in 91. So
yeah,
it's
so
two
two
years.
years.
So they would have greenlit that pretty quickly
Yeah.
after. I'd love to know what changed. Maybe that's in the trivia for the next one, but something something had to have happened.
Yeah, you got to wonder if somebody was just like, that's not how I want this part of the franchise to end.
Yeah.
And if Next Gen was consistently improving, that could have easily been like, all right,
Right.
let's
Maybe we
give it
can do
another
one
try.
more.
Yeah.
Next gen was carrying all the weight.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, Next Gen carries the franchise for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
Arguably still does to a certain extent.
Still, I was gonna say it is still carrying the weight.
Yep.
Sir
So,
Patrick Stewart, we salute you.
well, I'm looking forward to getting back to Next Gen.
Yeah.
This was a nice break, but at the same time, like, well,
Yep.
I'm gonna go back to the Enterprise D.
Yep.
So,
Well, there you go. Like I said during the discussion, if this was my first exposure to Star Trek, it probably would have been my last. Needless to say, I'm glad it wasn't, and I'm happy to continue with the franchise. Now, that's not to say this was the worst Star Trek has offered yet, but as a major motion picture release, if it had been the first, it probably would have been the last. With a franchise as big as this one, though, it's not shocking that there are some duds. And not everything about the movie was bad. It just overall didn't quite work. It felt like something was just missing. Or maybe a few things were missing. I can't pinpoint just one thing that would have changed my rating from mediocre to okay or good. Now, as I'm sure you have come to realize, one of my absolute favorite moments in recording this podcast was in our second Next Generation episode when I called out Picard for surrendering or attempting to surrender the Enterprise, including almost immediately in the pilot. The reaction from Abby, Nate, and Greg, that might be my favorite moment of the podcast yet. And all because I have a different perspective and didn't grow up with Picard first. Now, it is mostly in jest. I do like Picard, and I think he's generally a great captain. He's also a very complex character. But I can't let an opportunity go by to observe when Kirk did not surrender. Sure, he was hijacked because of some stupid decisions, but he didn't surrender. And I think that pretty much covers it for Star Trek V. I'm ready to put this movie behind us and move back to the next generation. If you're watching along with us, next time we will discuss the final 4 episodes of Season 2: Manhunt, The Emissary, Peak Performance, and Shades of Grey. As always, I want to thank you for spending your time listening to our conversations about Star Trek. If you enjoy what we're doing, please do us a favor and share with a friend. Also, leave us a rating and a review on your favorite podcast app. You can find us on X at BaldlyGoPodcast, to Baldly Go Podcast on Facebook, and to baldlygopodcast.com. You can also find me at aaronemery.net. Nate and I have another podcast, The In-Lap, in which we discuss the current Formula One season. Listen to The In-Lap in your favorite podcast app. For Abby and Nate, this is Aaron reminding you to never give up and embrace your inner Kirk. Never surrender. You want me to do what with these fucking boots?